Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. Welcome back to the Sunday Stack, episode 8. Now, the title of this video is Are You Not Entertained? Because listen up. Everything I told you, for the last couple months is pretty much played out. But exactly what I was telling you guys last week when I talked to you about why I didn't believe you should be taking profits, why you shouldn't be trimming your bags last week, everything has sort of come to fruition. We're going to talk about all that and more. And I do have a bit of an update for you guys as well. So with that being said, as always, make sure you follow me on all the tech, like and share the video, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure you follow me if you're on Abstract because I am streaming there live now as well. And also sort of follow me on Twitter because I definitely post a lot more consistently on Twitter. And that's just a function of the fact that I am rewarded for it financially by sharing my thoughts. You know, the system called Yaps, InfoFi. You've probably seen some massive airdrops the last couple of weeks. People are making 5-6 figures on these airdrops because they keep talking about them. So that's why Twitter has really become my core focus beyond sort of building up my spot bags. Now, beyond all that, if you want my extra coaching, guidance, and support, you can check out my paid services down below. And as always, we're going to dedicate some time for your questions. This is more of a streamlined call today because first thing, let's go into sort of the update. So I will be traveling for the next couple weeks. So I likely will be putting a pause to this just because, number one, I think the market conditions are in a very good sort of stage. There isn't really nothing new beyond just sort of I told you so that I got to keep reminding you guys, or sort of, hey guys, here are the things to look out for. And obviously I deserve a break. So I have literally been in Dubai since December, been grinding nonstop, haven't taken a break for a single day. And I'm finally taking some time off, traveling, and I will be back, but likely I'll be back in September. I'll try to make some videos. I did buy a laptop for the road, so I'll try to record from there, but I wouldn't be able to do any live streams. So I want to make sure that you guys get what you need right now. Now, some of you hopefully remember that I did promise that we would do a giveaway of $2,500 once we hit 125K on Bitcoin. To make this fair to everybody, basically while I'm gone, if we hit 125K, I won't do the live stream sort of randomly. I'll make sure that when I come back, my first live stream back, the live stream after that will be the giveaway, right? 5 people winning $500 each. Hopefully we will hit that 125K in the next week or so. And then, I'll let you guys know on the next live stream I'm on that is happening, the stream after that. But yeah, so, nothing to worry about. As always, I will be available on Twitter because Twitter makes it very, very easy. I can post from my phone, from my laptop, whatever it may be. Whereas obviously videos are a much more significant time commitment. Okay, so with that, let's get into what you're here for, the market update. Now, there are a lot of people who are now, they were super bearish months ago, didn't tell you anything, just, hey, sell out of crypto, get into stock, some bullshit. They were telling you not to buy the dips at the bottom. They said it was over, Bitcoin's going to 30K. There are people like Capo, Crypto Capo, who's still telling people to go short on this market. He's been short on Bitcoin since 102K, been short on Ethereum since 23 or 2200. And he's telling everyone, don't worry, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. These people are dangerous because they don't know anything. And because you may have been early, perhaps you were in crypto and you were on Twitter building a brand before it got diluted, before it became much harder to build a brand. So they have audiences and people listen to them and they lose a lot of money, unfortunately. The reality is most people in this space know nothing, right? I told you guys in February to get out. I told you guys to get back in April. Watch the videos, they're all there. And literally last week, I told you when I sort of gave you that sort of parable on why I didn't believe you should sell your crypto, why I didn't believe you should be taking your profits early, right? I basically told you that I expected us to flip 3,300 on Ethereum within the week or two. And in fact, it only took us a couple of days. And for me, this was such a very important indicator because Ethereum over 3,300 meant that a bunch of altcoins would start sending. And that was what I was waiting for to expand beyond sort of my Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hyperliquid bags, right? I have my alpha and my beta. I've shared that many times, but that's really the core positions that I was holding: Bitcoin, ETH, and Hype, and then the associated betas. Now, let's take a look over here. So where are we? Let's go over here, right? You can see literally last week, we were at 29.85. This is the video from last week. And if you watch it, literally you'll hear me talk about why I felt that people were normalizing prices. So they felt like, every so often, every time in, February, March, April, when we got a rally, it was always, a rally and then going down. But I always told you guys, the market doesn't go straight down. It doesn't go straight up. It sort of goes up and down in a zigzag pattern, allowing people to farm exit liquidity on both sides, right? The market makers. This is exactly what I expected. I expect us on the way up to do a bit of the same thing, right? And obviously there could be some sort of black swan events, right? We saw that happen about a few weeks ago when Israel sort of dropped a bomb on Iran, and all of a sudden everything that was pumping sort of halted for a bit. But once that sort of subsided, we kept going up. And there's only so many times that this kind of stuff can happen before the market just shrugs and goes, yeah, I don't care anymore, right? Like, think about it. Israel bombed Syria. Many of you probably don't know that. And the reason for that is because the markets weren't affected. The markets were like, all right, they're just rolling their eyes at this point. We're so used to this, we're just going to ignore it, right? It's just like when China banned crypto for the 455th time. The first couple of times, it impacted the market. After a while, the market gets like, okay, whatever, it's not important anymore. We don't care. You've already sort of squeezed that juice out of it. So obviously this week, Ethereum has been one of the biggest winners, and so has XRP. Now, if we take a look from here, right, like I said, watch the previous videos. I always recommend that you check those out. I know a lot of people are like, I can't be bothered to spend an hour. You don't have to. Literally watch the first. That's why I put the market update at the front, so that anybody could just watch the first 15, 20 minutes and you don't have to watch anymore. The rest of it is if you want to sort of be a little more in depth on some of the topics. Otherwise, doesn't really matter, right? You take a look at these other cryptos. Like I said, we want to focus on outperformers, right? Solana's okay, right? Let's take a look. Last 7 days, Ethereum is up 25%, XRP is up 23%, BNB 8%, Solana 11%, Doge 35%, Cardano 16%. Hyperliquid surprisingly has underperformed. And a lot of that, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, is because Hyperliquid was actually early to the move. And while it hasn't really retraced, it has definitely stalled out. And I'm expecting this to go another leg higher very soon, right? At the same time, you can see Stellar 0.42%, Sui 12%, Chainlink 22%, Hedera, whatever, right? So obviously altcoins are starting to fire. A lot of these coins actually weren't running until the last couple of days. And the reason for that, once again, is Ethereum is the risk on signal. We got the 3,300 flip, and all of a sudden it became very, very lucrative. So the question you probably have, right? I haven't looked at the chat. I don't plan on looking at the chat right now, is basically, should we take profits? My answer again, just like last week, is no. What we want to do, I mean, you can definitely start shaving things off if you're a little more risk averse. I have not, and let me explain why. So once again, I look at the fear and greed index. On the fear and greed index, we are still not in extreme greed. So for myself, we have waited so long in these bearish conditions. If you start cutting your positions early, you literally, we sort of chopped for pretty much half a year, right? We went super down to 74K, 75K Bitcoin. And now that we're rallying, people want to just, sell their spot and basically hope it retraces. But the problem is, at this stage of the market, what typically happens is it runs a little further than you expect, expecting people who sold early to profits early to capitulate, make late longs, and then do the big pullback. And when that big pullback happens, then they get worried and they just completely sell out because, like, maybe they buy Ethereum at 4,300, right? Instead of buying it at 3,300 or 3,000 or 2,300 or 2,100 like we talked about, or 1,600 like we talked about, right, in the videos. So for me, I'm not selling yet. Obviously, that's your personal preference. Nothing I say is financial advice. I'm waiting for us to get to extreme greed. Also, somebody shared this with me in our private group. I think it's a really good sort of dashboard of sorts. I don't really use a lot of what's in here, but definitely there are some good indicators that you can take a look at. And basically, this does a summary, basically telling you how they're all doing, right? So you can see all of these things, right? So you get a cycle pi top, whatever, or pi cycle top indicator, and 100% hold, right? Now, obviously, this is a sort of confluence, right? So it sort of takes a look at a bunch of factors and helps you decide. Personally, I like to keep it simple, so I don't really go through all this stuff, but because they have this dashboard, it makes it very easy to visualize, right? The stuff I've told you about is fear and greed and taking a look at the Bitcoin 50-week EMA, right? So taking a look at Bitcoin over here, and ironically, I haven't deleted any of this. Like I said, I expected us to move up and then range and then move up again, right? So we went through here, we broke through this range, right? So this is 2024, when we hit our quote all-time high of like 73, 74K, then ranged for like 6-7 months. Then we had the November 5th US elections, which took us to the next range. And then we ranged again all the way till a few weeks ago. And now we've broken into a new range, and then we're going to consolidate there before then going to the next level higher. And at any time, if our 50-week EMA, so this orange line you see here, if we break through it, the bull market is in jeopardy. So right now it's at 89K. So nothing to worry about, but definitely something to just keep in mind. For me, this is what I'm always looking at. Like, where are we? The other thing you have to realize is at this stage, Bitcoin is very expensive. It is very far from the actual retest of the retest of the sort of 50 EMA. So I personally would not be buying any Bitcoin at this stage, but obviously that's up to you. In my opinion, it's a little too expensive, and the only move I would make with my Bitcoin is to reduce my Bitcoin positions and basically take profits and sell once we've basically formed a top, right? This is the very critical part, because let me tell you something. I know some people will sort of say it is hard to time bottoms. It's even harder to time tops, because a lot of people just get way too greedy. When you're fearful, you're at least in sort of preservation mode, right? But when you're in greed mode, people just go, oh, I want to be fully exposed at the top. Like to just start piling more and more money. So I'm telling you this right now to preempt everything. You're going to see a lot of things on the timeline talking about Bitcoin going to 2 million or 1 million or something ridiculous. Really reel it in. You want to create an exit plan that has you stabling up, because likely what we're going to start seeing is sometime in August, September, we're likely going to have a big pullback. I'm not definitively certain of this, but I believe, just based on sort of if we top, and also, previous years have just basically shown that. So September tends to be a horrible month in markets. So it's just something to keep in mind. Obviously, if, we can keep breaking up, fantastic. But once we start seeing the top forming, just start at least putting some stable coins to the side. This was something that I personally did not do myself in November and December. And because of this, I had to make certain moves when we sort of came back. And then I sort of, was stabling up. But obviously, when this happened with Bitcoin, a lot of the alts were already massively in the red, right? So some of the gaming tokens that I bought, Super and Beam and other things in December, they basically did horribly, right? And if you look at Render, you look at Tau, a lot of them just completely bled. So because Bitcoin does control the alts, and then Ethereum controls the alts, you want to make sure that once you start seeing topping, you get out of Dodge. Protect your money, stable up. And obviously, if you want to have exposure still, your exposure should be in Bitcoin, not the altcoins. Obviously, this really, really depends on the dynamics that we see, right? So just keep that in mind. Take a look at Ethereum. Beauty over here, like we still haven't broken through the all-time high of this cycle, which is in the 4,000s. That is definitely coming, likely in the next week or so. I also don't believe that's the top, right? So what we want to see is Bitcoin get into price discovery above 4,800, and obviously things will start flying. I think 6,000 as a target is very, very reasonable for Ethereum. And as great as Ethereum does, you'll see altcoins get on fire and start exploding up. For me, Hyperliquid is sort of my, that's definitely my favorite token in this cycle. Got that moat just like ETH and Bitcoin, where you have the revenue from Hyperliquid basically buying back the tokens, and effectively your price goes up. And as you know, we're also farming the Hyper EVM ecosystem for the Hyperliquid Season 2 airdrop, as well as like Felix and Unit and a few others. But those are the sort of main things we're looking at. Now, obviously, we look at Hyperliquid here. I think the big challenge has been it actually led the market, right? Like, because it was such a strong outperformer, now that everything else is running, we're starting to see some lag here. I know a lot of people were talking about taking profits at $50. It was just sort of a mental sort of figure that a lot of people had, especially, I can't remember how many points per dollar that equates to, or dollar per points that equates to. But like I said, it's nothing significant. And while there is a decent unlock size in November, I still think that's way too far out for us to consider this a top here. I was buying Hyperliquid as $44 a few days ago, right? And what I do basically now is I already have a ton of Hyperliquid. Every time there's a dip, I'll just buy a bunch of Hyperliquid on the side through borrowing platforms, and then when it goes up, I will sell it. I just sort of keep doing it again and again and again. It's just basically free money for me at this point. Now, one thing I did do, and this was only to the private group, is when we hit Ethereum at 3,300, so this was on July 16th, right? I basically said, I'm going to add to two specific tokens, XRP and Doge. I believe XRP was like $3.01 or $3.02. Doge was 21 cents. I wrote that they stagnated. XRP did run up and then it started stagnating a tiny bit. But it was very, very clear to me that, while some people may think that's top blasting, especially on XRP, it was very, very clear that because ETH had flipped 3,300, we were literally going to see the alts break upwards, and people could buy whatever alts they wanted. I felt those were the top two to buy at that moment. And taking a look at XRP since then, XRP has literally Chad candled from $3.01 all the way to $3.51. It was $3.60 something a day ago or whatever. But it's been fantastic, right? Let me just go to the daily here just to sort of get that. So you can see here, yeah, it was right here. So $3.03 or whatever. And we had a massive candle to the upside. And this is exactly what I expected, right? So as I said, Ethereum controls the altcoins. And what I saw happen in November and previously was the Dino coins were the ones that were running. And if I had to pick between, Cardano, XRP, Tron, Doge, I'm going to pick XRP for sure as sort of the big outperformer that we saw in December, and then Dogecoin, which I felt was very undervalued at 21 cents at the time. XRP, I believe, is going to keep running. I know. Here's the thing: people believe that if you buy XRP, you must be a retard or something. Listen, I have zero conviction into being a long-term holder. I'm literally just here to make money, right? There are a lot of people out there like, I'll never buy XRP. Okay, great. Then enjoy being poor, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, whatever token it is it a plus EV move to buy and trade this? I believe that for Ripple, so I did. And on the upside, on the plus side, there's a lot of Ripple holders, XRP holders, who will literally never sell this token. They believe this should be, future of finance, should be $1,000 a coin or whatever. Great. I plan on selling, around $6 to $10, whatever, if we get that. So that's sort of my plan there. Dogecoin at the same time as well has gone from 21 cents to 27 cents since that sort of signal that I put in our group. So where was this? The 17th was here. Yeah, 21.5 cents. So once again, I think Doge has a lot of room to run. Just take a look at sort of where we were in December, which was basically 46 cents, and obviously where we were at SNL, which was 69 cents back then. So obviously this hasn't broken any all-time highs. We're on price discovery. I believe there's a lot of room to run, I think there's a lot of potential here. Once again, these are just the altcoins that I picked because I thought they would outperform in this time period. That doesn't mean I plan on holding them for the cycle. It doesn't mean anything. It just means I wanted to make money, right? And obviously what we're going to see is as Ethereum starts chatting up, all of these altcoins will be sending higher and higher. But as always, these things will not run forever without taking a breath. So please do not go into perpetuals and use massive leverage and blow your account up. This is why spot is so great and buying spot on dips is so great. Right? This is why it was so important. If you showed up, if you were somebody who came to our AMAs back in February, March, and April, and you followed sort of the things I talked about, you should be beaming from ear to ear because you got incredible deals. You are well positioned in the market, and literally you're looking at this stuff and not sweating because your Ethereum average basis cost is between 1,600 and 2,100. Your BTC cost is like 74 to 84,000, right? Like you're sitting pretty. Your hyper liquid costs like $9 to $15. Like how can you go wrong? The problem is a lot of people, and by the way, if you did not watch these videos or maybe you weren't involved or you weren't around, right? Maybe you're a regular viewer, but you couldn't stand it. This is the problem. A lot of people, when negative stuff happens, they can't deal with it. So they just shut it down and they're like, I'm going to go touch grass. But that is actually the time you need to be learning. You need to be well positioned. Like I basically went through and cut a bunch of positions, consolidated and everything, because I want to make sure by the time we ran up, I felt that I was in the right tokens that would help me make the most money, right? A lot of people were just like, yeah, you know what? I was in Polkadot. I'm going to stay in Polkadot. I was in this. They don't believe it, but they're like, oh, they wanted time to just pass without doing anything. And while, you may be fortunate that some of those tokens going up, some of those tokens have done nothing, right? Think about Atom, Celestia, Polkadot, whatever, right? This is why it's so important. This is not the last time you're going to face adversity in crypto, right? It's not the first, not the last time. You cannot afford to just close your eyes and pray and not put in the time. The people who put in the time during the February, March, and April timeframe, even in May, literally are reaping the rewards today. And that is sort of the message I want to leave you with. Just remember one more thing that I want to say before we get into the questions, which is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I tell you I believe in. You've got to ask yourself what you have conviction in, why you have conviction in it, and identify what side you have conviction in. Because a lot of people, right? Let's take Bitcoin for an example, right? People will tell you, oh my God, Bitcoin sitting at 100 and something K. Man, I wish I had money to buy 15K. But at $15,000, if I actually put 1% of your net worth in, would you have done it? And people say, yeah, sure. If I say 5%, okay, 10%. Once I say there's a number, maybe it's 90%, 80%, 100% of your net worth, but there's a certain number at which point the size is way too big that it is bigger than your actual conviction in the token. It's up to you to identify what that size is and make sure that you don't go above it. Because if you are ever sitting in a position where it's bigger than your conviction, you will be looking for any excuse to take profits, cut it early, whatever it may be. Then when your thesis plays out, you actually make a lot less. And then what's going to happen, I've seen this with a lot of my clients, they literally will go, they sold it at a certain price, like 2,200 for ETH. ETH goes to 3,000, they just start piling in. It's like, okay, it's just such a loss of potential, and sometimes you end up top blasting into oblivion, and you really want to avoid that. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the questions, and then I'll bid you guys a farewell. So let's see what's up. Hey BG, hello Greg, how are you doing? I hope Starkmine is doing well. Like the Gladiator coat? Yeah, thanks. A lot of people don't actually. I find a lot of people don't understand movie references these days, right? But that's good. I haven't watched Gladiator 2. I heard it's garbage though. What's up, Jen? Hi, B Mark. How are you doing? Fridroff, happy Sunday. Hey, happy Sunday. How you doing? Hey, all. Love the Sunday Stack, BG. Thanks, Snagadelic. Appreciate you. Ruslan, I'm entertained, sir. Fantastic. Love to hear it. Are you Ruslan05, the guy with 1 million airdrop counts? Hey, Sanjay. Everything is fantastic. Thank you. What's up? Where do I travel? I'm just gonna travel to North America and stuff. We'll see. Just back from the pool bet. Hey, how are you going, Daniel? What is 1804? It's crazy to see those prices. Is it really the skill? What I will say is, for those who paid attention, this should not be a surprise. Like, I don't have a crystal ball, but telling you about these prices is like predicting 8 o'clock at like 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? It's like so clear, especially when you like look at like sort of the beach ball underwater that like a lot of these tokens have been subjected to, right? Ethereum, for example, like Ethereum literally was like crucified. As always, if I showed you this price for Ethereum in January, you'd be pissed off, because remember, December we were sitting at 4,000, right? So a lot of people, like I said, they normalize these prices, they normalize what happens, and then eventually, oh my God, Ethereum's 1,300. And then eventually that becomes their new anchor. So now you look at 3,700, go, oh my God, it was $1,300 like, 2.5, 3 months ago. What's my plan for Hyperliquid? Am I holding long-term? Well, depends on what you mean by long-term. I will be holding 0 tokens at the end of the cycle. It's just something that I learned. I told myself I would do that last cycle, and then I sold 80% of my Bitcoin and ETH and sort of held the rest, sold everything else, and regretted it. I was told this time is going to be different. It never is. People say, oh my God, ETFs are here, blah, 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 blah. Don't sell. You're never going to get Bitcoin again. Okay, maybe I don't. But I think every second that goes on, it becomes harder and harder and harder. And personally, I would rather just sell all of my crypto likely by the end of the year. I expect there to be the recession coming at the end of the year or early 2026. And so I want to be completely out of crypto. So that's my plan. I plan on holding it for a while. And like I said, I'm waiting for topping structures, right? This is why I haven't sold my Hyperliquid yet. Like I just want to be that person who sells Hyperliquid, which I believe to be one of the easiest trades of this cycle, and then start chasing it later. Just pointless. And I'm also farming the Hyper EVM drop and a Hyperliquid Season 2 airdrop. Did I sell my Eclipse airdrop? Yes, I did. You didn't tap and got 0 tokens? I mean, Be Gold, I made like 5 or 6 videos for Eclipse, but I wasn't really like a community member in the sorts that they wanted. Like, the reality is, guys, like, I just don't have time to sit in Discords and like mingle people all the time. Like, I'll go in from time to time, but the reality is, if you're a busy guy, like what? Like, I'm just supposed to like end up making that my whole life, right? And I get it. Like, they wanted to do this. Here's what I thought about Eclipse, though. A lot of those Eclipse KOLs, or EKOLs like they call it, went around talking about, like, they literally like acted like their shit didn't stink, right? They were like, everyone's an extractive farmer, blah, 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 blah. And then what happened was, I was like, all right, cool. Like, I would love to see these people put their money where their mouth is and not dump the token. But guess what? A lot of them did. A lot of them dumped their token, and I don't know if they're in the Eclipse Discord or anything anymore. I know they've started creating like ES holder roles where if you have X amount of tokens, you get to see it. And I think, Alucard, or the community manager, right, basically was like surprised. He was kind of blown away by, I think, how much some of the community even turned on him. Like, I understand, like, it's hard to make everyone happy, but I thought sort of what happened with the NFT collection is probably the worst of all of it. But he did show some remorse. Love to see what happens with that. At the end of the day, like, I'm glad I didn't hold any tokens, because I think I told you guys these airdrops will always trend towards 0. I did speculate on some ASC NFTs. That is more on a bet to see that they will do something, because it was like the NFT of Eclipse, and it was like, it went from like 0.5 ETH to like 0.03. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I can buy a couple of these, so why not? What's up, Daniel? Hello, Soren. How are you? Hello, Andrew. I'm curious how ETH/alts will perform. I mean, like I said, it depends on how deep the pullback goes, right? So, really, really depends whatever you want to do with that. I would expect to see a lot of blood temporarily, but like I said, the idea behind the blood is is to like basically shake out late longs, right? People literally will sit on their hands, go, oh, I missed it, I'm not gonna get in, whatever. And then every day they log in and they just see the price goes up and up and up and up and up. Eventually they capitulate. And that's when the market maker goes, let's drop the hammer. And now they get scared and they just sell out, right? They need to make money. So that's what they do. Sold quarter of your ETH. Nice. Congratulations. Good trade, right? Thoughts on Bonk? No, I'm not touching that. The problem with Bonk is I feel like all that stuff is very manipulated, right? And I'm pretty sure the Bonk guy is like an institutional plant. And the guy is called Bonk guy. I had some Bonk. I personally would not touch it. I am completely avoiding the Solana ecosystem. For me, so here's what I want to do. I am focused more on abstract. And the reason for that is I believe abstract will be where a lot of people end up by the end of the year, especially as people start trying to farm the airdrop more consistently. There's going to be a liquidity injection there. And their top memes are sitting at like 30 million or 30 and 20 million respectively in Abster and Newt. I've been putting money into those things because there's a lot of money to be made. And I've seen a bunch of little kids who put in $1,000, spin it up to like 6 figures or 5 figures and stuff. And I expect that Abster and Newt, they are likely to basically effectively reach 1 billion market cap once we see that liquidity injection, if the chain does get adopted. So for me, it makes it a very easy bet. Whereas I look at something like Bonk and I'm like, what's the actual upside here from here, right? So that's basically it. That's a higher high on Doge. I don't want to be that guy, but did you say, well, I mean, Luna, what did I tell you guys, right? I said 125K. 125K was, for Bitcoin, was when I effectively do the giveaway. And I said at the start of the video, actually, that giveaway will be done as soon as I come back from my travels. And I'll let you guys know in the live stream prior. So we haven't hit 125K yet, so we haven't qualified. What fear and greed index number do you recommend selling? Over 80, right? So like, and by the way, I'm not saying to just sell, right? So that's where we get to extreme greed, is at 80. But like I said, you can clip out, start phasing stuff out. I'm looking for topping structure on Bitcoin, right? I'm looking to start seeing that like we basically top, right? Until I see that, like, why would I want to sell ahead of time, right? Crazy when you showed last week's prices. Sure. ILA 18041. I don't, what the hell that? Sorry, what? Oh, sorry. You're referring to your pictures because I asked you. I was like, what are you referring to? Okay, cool. It's a union. Fees crazy. It feels crazy. It's only been a week since we were in the 2K range. Yeah. I mean, like I said, right? Like, the same thing happened when we were at 3,300 and we went to 1,800 that one night, or 1,600, right? In February, if I go back to Ethereum, let's look at that date. That one day, everyone was like shitting their pants effectively, right? Let's go over here, right? This day. You guys remember this? All the way down. It was bad. Went to 2,100, and we were at 3,300. We were at 3,000. Like it happened in the course of like 4 hours, and just doesn't show the way the candle is, but it was wild. Like literally right here. You know what I mean? So it happens both ways, and you guys like, it's crazy how long ago it feels, but like we literally had this thing. If I draw this out, just to remind you guys, right? It was literally like this, right? And I believe, where was it? It was like this or this, right? Like to here. And then it was like that, right? And we ended up playing this way, but we deviated by a bit. So this was the plan, right? So it was literally like here, okay, retest, come down, and it goes up, or it goes down one more level and then bounces. We ended up deviating a little bit over here and then bounced. So literally it played out exactly. If you watch the previous videos, you can literally see it happen. So it's crazy. Any recommendation for a reasonably priced steakhouse in Vegas? Depends on what you mean by reasonably priced. There's some really nice ones. We went to one for my buddy's bachelor party. Very expensive. Got private room and stuff. But like I said, like it depends on what even the reasonably priced. I would not go to any of those like brand name ones. But there are some definitely good ones on the strip. But like I said, you pay for what you get, basically. Really enjoy your streams. Enjoy your vacation. Thank you. Are Volantis and Project X worth it in Hyper EVM? Project X is worth it. Volantis is whatever. But Project X, you can provide liquidity. The APRs are pretty decent, so I've been doing that. You know, I think you can do like K Hype and Hype, which is not bad. And you can also do like FEUSD and USDHL, which allows you to have stable coins. So like you're not really losing your Hyperliquid token if the price goes up, if you have Hyperliquid and USD. How's the gym going? Still on track with food? Yep. I don't know if you guys can see. Got like, you know, shoulders and stuff. So yeah, not bad, right? Not bad. My tracking with food, yeah, man, it's brutal. I spent 3 hours in the gym before I came here. So yeah, it was good. It can be hard when I travel though. Time for mitosis linear. Yeah, I just want to wrap that stuff up. And you know, so I've been posting a lot about mitosis on the timeline. I just want to get in that like 1,000, like top 1,000 for the 6-month leaderboard. I have no idea where I am. I just keep posting and hope it is. Like I used to be there, and then I didn't post about mitosis for a bit because, you know, game of mitosis wrapped up and there was really nothing to talk about. But yeah, like I want to talk about stuff that I find interesting, right? I missed the start of the video. Okay, cool. What do I think about TikTok related meme coins? Garbage. Here's why. They literally like are basically pump and dump and bundle tokens. Listen, any idiot can make, you know, TikTok related meme coins. If you're not early with those things, you might as well not get in, right? Like they're like literally like that is not my strong suit, and I find a lot of people burn money chasing after those things. My advice, if you want to spin it up, go on Abstract, get in the trenches there. There's a lot more organic memes, and the holder base is very small, and you can get positioned early in some of these things before they run. What is the exit plan? I already told you. Like, when do you exit? We wait for things to break, right? We wait for the Bitcoin 50-week EMA to be broken, or you can wait here for a topping formation, and when the topping formation happens, you start taking money off the table, right? This is exactly what happened over here, right? If you look at December, literal topping structure happened, and you got another chance to, you know, get out before the big dip came. So we will likely see something like this coming at some point. I don't know if it's going to be here or a little higher. We'll have to find out. If there was anything you would put money into right now, what would you suggest? Probably Hyperliquid, just because Hyperliquid had lagged. I think Aave is also not bad. Like Aave has also lagged a bit, right? So yeah, I think Aave is not bad. Maker is not bad. I think Ethereum is still okay. Like, you know, like obviously Ethereum has ran up a lot, but I don't think it's close to topping. Those are not bad. Pepe is not bad. Oh, Pengu's not bad either. Like the problem is a lot of these things will feel like top lasting because they've had significant moves. But remember, the bull market we're in is literally waiting for actual rocket fuel. I don't think I would enter XRP here just because XRP is like way too high. But Hyperliquid's not bad. Doge is like on the level. Ondo's not bad actually. But those are probably the things I'd look at. I would not touch Bitcoin. I'm still okay touching ETH. I'm still okay touching Aave, Maker, and Pepe, and Pengu, and Hype. And now maybe Ondo. Those are the things I'm looking at. Don't pick every one of them. You know, you pick like one or two and focus on that. Not financial advice. I personally am still holding some Hype. I did take a bunch of profits on Hype, but like I said, I don't think Elon is basically going to let this thing die. I think a lot of what they're planning is to get people out early and then climb the chart. So I personally am holding a bit. I'm only holding like $3,000 worth. So it's up to you what you want to do. Since you talk about these abstract memes, huh? So what? I don't even know what this means, Sanjay. Like, look, I've heard of run-on sentences, but I've never heard of circular sentences. Since I talk about these abstract memes, since I talked about them. Okay. What's my take on Pepe? Yeah, pretty good. Let me see my... So I have a bunch of Pepe positions. Let me see over here. Yeah, it's not bad. It's 0.0001426, right? It's not bad. Personally, I'm still very, very positive on Pepe. I think there's a lot of room for it to grow as well. Have I noticed with this recent move, people talk about memes again? Yeah, so here's the thing. What you have to understand is there are memes that are established, and then there are memes which are exit rug liquidity scams. And what I think a lot of people don't understand is there's a big difference between the two, okay? So when I talk about Pepe and Doge and stuff, these are not rug liquidity exit scams. But there are a bunch of bad people in this space who literally sit there and all they do is they try to entice you to buy their garbage, because every time the market pumps, people make money in spot, right? So the wealth creation effect in crypto is when crypto goes up as a whole, people make money. People lose money on everything else. They lose money buying NFTs. They lose money buying memes and going in the trenches. They lose money on so much bullshit. They lose money in perpetuals, right? Because they don't know what the hell they're doing. The only thing that even low IQ people can win in crypto is spot. So what happens is every time the market pumps up, what happens is people go, oh my God, they see dollar signs. They see a lot of people go, all these guys are retards. Let me take their money. What do? Let me launch this meme coin, launch this one. This one's the future. This one's the future. All these people are scammers. Look at what happened with Orangey. Look what they've all done. None of these people are authentic. Every single one of them, they call it attention rotation. But literally, it's just let me extract from your wallet, right? Because you're making money through spot. And everybody knows that you got money, right? The reason the meme coin trenches died was everybody who made money in November, they weren't making any more money in December, and their bags started going down, and they were in the meme casinos and whatever, and they were just losing, and then they had no money, right? The last of it got taken away by the Trump token, by Melania, and then by Libra, whatever the hell, right? All of these things are extractive, right? So it's not that memes are dead or whatever. It's you have to separate meme tokens from real memes and scammers. The scammers are, whenever you guys make money, the scammers are going to come out and try to take your dollars. That's just the reality of it. So you can laugh or say whatever. Memes are never dead. Pepe is never dead. Doge is never dead or whatever. But you know what's dead? Any bullshit. I like tits.coin, whatever. I like tits.inu or some garbage. Somebody launches it tomorrow. Oh, that's the future of finance, man. Going to 10 billion, bro. Put your money in. And idiots will do it because they made money. That stuff doesn't fly when everyone's broke or everyone's down bad. That doesn't fly. Okay? Solid info as always. Yeah, not a problem, brother. Appreciate you. That's why I keep rocking since, people never change. Yeah, but here's what you have to understand. The people who talked about ETH and XRP before, like saying it was garbage, they were retarded. They were never right. Do you understand? Like I think you have to sort of think about this a little more clearly, right? Like when the FTX collapse happened, right? And they owned a lot of Sol, retards who know nothing came out and said stuff, right? I'm not saying Sol is dead even now, but what I will tell you is, and what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks is Solana's use case. Solana's use case was always, hey, if you don't want to spend $200 a transaction on Ethereum, which is what we had to do at the last bull market, come to Sol. We have a lot of stuff going on too. You can gamble here, you can do whatever. And what happened since then? Well, Ethereum layer 2s happened, right? Arbitrum was a nice start. Base really took off, right? And what we saw was we didn't really have a use case for Sol. Like they were both very similar. And then Solana just had problem after problem. Solana was where all the extractive events were happening, right? Solana, like we saw Jupiter and Meteora get implicated with the whole Libra, right? Like pumped up fun. Everything was mass extract. So Solana has a very poor brand image right now. And what has happened is in the past, it was very easy to onboard people on Sol, right? Through Phantom and whatever. Other things are coming. It's still not the best to onboard somebody on Ethereum because obviously like base is sort of where you want to get them, but those solutions are coming. And I believe that that is reflected in the charts as well, right? We're seeing Solana is lagging. And I'm not saying Solana is dead, but there is no real use case for Sol. What do you have on Solana that you want to use? There is nothing. There's nothing unique about it. Okay? Like I said, it's not about being biased or whatever. I would love for Sol to be useful. Then I will go back and I will put money into it. But I'm always going to go for the outperformers because I don't have infinite money. So I need to make sure that instead of just spreading my bets and then getting a very poor result, let me find out what the best tokens are and put my money there. And it's been working out fantastically. Putting my layer drop into Pepe. Yeah, you know what's messed about layer? So that's the last thing I need to claim. They screwed up their vested portion and they keep pushing it back a couple epochs to be able to claim the final vested amount. What do I think about Fartcoin? Fartcoin's not bad. Like, it's okay. I do think Fartcoin is probably the best Solana meme coin that there is. But, once again, I'm avoiding Sol as a whole. Remember, these meme coins are typically beta of the chain they're on. So I expect ETH to do better, which is why I'm investing more in Pepe. For example, exit scam. You bought Corey 145. Its all-time market cap was 60 mil. Yeah, that's fine, Claudio. That's cool. But like I said, let me tell you something. So Claudio, this is a fantastic example. So you won here, right? So I had a win like this with Mudang, and I had a win like this with Peanut, right? And if you're winning, somebody's losing, right? So in that time period that it went from 145K market cap and everybody's talking about it, if you weren't early, right, which is what I said you have to be, you have to be early, then you're going to be the one who's losing all your money. So obviously, when you get in early, you start bragging about these tokens, and then suckers buy them, and then you dump on them. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's the other problem. Because these things are meme coins and you're not super early, right? What happens is you're scared to allocate. This comes back to conviction. This is why I talked about Abster and Newt. These are ones that I got in very early, and I'm okay leaving the money there. I think I turned, I think I have like 3,000 in Abster now and 2,500 in Newt, and I'm just gonna leave it there. Why? It just keeps running up for me, right? It like doubled in the last like month or so, but literally it just keeps going up, and I'm happy to leave it there. Happy to wait for 1 billion market cap, because for me, those are organic memes, very strong holder base, and I believe there's going to be a massive liquidity injection. And any new bullshit memes that get created later, they're not going to have the same traction. So that's why I do that, and that allows me to have the conviction and actually get the maximum, right? Because it's nice to make these exits, and I know how you feel, because same thing happened when I buy Peanut and Mudang. I'm not putting in like 20 Sol, I'm putting like 0.1 Sol or something into these things, So it's hard. Nice. Is it time to sell Bitcoin and buy alts? I don't think so. I mean, I jumped the gun on this earlier too, but I personally don't think it is yet. Yeah, future to finance, right? Could be wrong. I think we range August, September. Yeah, I mean, we could. Like I said, I think we top. But here's the thing. You say range August, September, and finish strong Q4. So I expect the market to be done in Q4. But I expect there to be a big pullback and then a rally before we end, right? So let me just draw what I think is gonna happen. Like I said, we're gonna know when it happens, right? But my expectation is So let's say, like, forget this because I want to draw on the side. Let's just draw here, okay? So we go up. Like this. Something like that. So this is what I think happens in Q3. And this is what I think happens in Q4. And I think that's sort of the end. I suspect there will be a massive bleed sometime in August, September, just because the markets typically do horribly then. What do I think? I mean, the skill, I only share that in our private group, so I don't know what you're asking here. These are two different strategies, right? So one is to farm specifically Felix, and the other is to farm and make money off hype. The second option does not get you any Felix points, or very, very minimal. So it's up to you what you want to do, right? I was picking up Steven. I'm with. Oh, okay, cool. I think Soul has Deepin going for it. Go ahead. So, okay, so Luna, explain this to me. Why should someone give a shit about Deepin? Like, who cares about Deepin right now? Do I think Cardano? I could. Like I said, like I had the option of getting Doge as well, Doge or Cardano, and I thought Doge was just better. Well, here's the thing. The memes that do well on Sol are all shitters. You don't understand that, right? The best Solana memes don't capture much liquidity, and the reason for that, right? So Ethereum, like just a history lesson, right? Ethereum gas fees were so high, right? So people never sold on Ethereum. For someone to flip on Ethereum, they had to have a big price move. Why? Because otherwise you would be just paying an arm and a leg. Solana was fantastic because, oh my God, I can flip things for pennies. You know, I can flip, you know, I can make a $10 profit, doesn't matter, right? You couldn't do that on ETH. Oh, you made a $10 profit? All right, cool, pay me $200 in gas and, you know, be on your way. So this was why you saw a lot of meme flipping activity and stuff on Sol. But the problem was Solana is just literally like just pump and dump. On to the next one. Look at the average lifetime of a meme there, right? Solana wants to market to you that this is the best place for memes because they need it. That's all they can do. That's their literal branding, right? Think about it. Pump Fun, Meteora, Juke. Think about all the apps on Sol. Everything is literally like how to maximize the meme experience. But they went too far. Why? All they did was extract. All they did was build these platforms which all took pieces of your money, and the casino took your money as well. So how are you making money? Most of the big memes on Sol, no, they're not. You really think so? Come on. It's all good that people choose ETH over Sol. I use Sol. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like the fees, remember, you say ETH over Sol, but once you make it base versus Sol, it becomes very easy base. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Andrew, like, let me tell you something. What I use to onboard people now is Infinex, right? Infinex allows you directly to get somebody to send their Ethereum there to base. Boom, good to go. You're already like set up. You're in a closed ecosystem. Very, very easy. I find people on base have a fantastic experience, and I think Solana is just currently a waste, anyways. Sorry for what? Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Look, I haven't released a video yet, so most people who see this are probably like, what? But yeah. Thanks for answering my question. I use a small port. Yeah, it's fine. That's cool. Like I said, like obviously Claudio, if you spend the time, right? Congratulations on finding that meme. But obviously, like you'd also want to make a lot of money off those memes, right? Like imagine you got the 145K, I think that's what it was, right? Into like 60 million market cap. That's like a what? 420x. But imagine you were able to do that with size because you had conviction. That is why I was saying abstract, because I believe abstract allows you to get an early plus that. You know what I'm saying? That's just why I keep pushing it. Like I get nothing from abstract for doing this. So I'm just saying this is sort of what I believe in. Myself, I also like community drive. Yeah, but once again, what is the function of these, right? Not getting caught on chain with ETH this cycle. I don't know why. What you mean by that? Like, you don't need to be on Ethereum mainnet. Like, Ethereum mainnet is in the past. You guys gotta let it go. Everybody's argument against ETH is Ethereum mainnet related. Great. Forget about Ethereum mainnet. Let's talk about Ethereum on base. Like, it's just like the argument is, it's such a bad faith argument. You know what I'm saying? Because then I could use the argument, well, Solana is going to turn off every 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't happen anymore. So like people have literally like cannot cherry pick bullshit from the past, because I can do the same thing for Sol. I'm not here to tell you Sol's good or Sol is bad and ETH is good. I'm telling you what is the best thing to do right now. That's it. If Sol is amazing tomorrow, I will be there. The biggest memes are on ETH. Yeah, that's 100% correct. For low leverage trading futures, I use scaled orders. It's so nice with chart wicks. What? I don't understand what you mean. Like, are you referring to something completely different? Because like, yeah, that makes sense. I would use Lighter, by the way, if you're looking for low leverage future trading, because you don't pay any fees, right? 0 fees to open and close trades, just funding rate. The best market to actually trade right now, and there's a good airdrop opportunity. And then there's Backpack, which gets you interest on your margin, which is fantastic. Problem is that some people don't like the fact you need KYC, and then obviously Hyperliquid, right? So is it hard to find OTC sellers? No. So I was in the gold souk, and a lot of people were like telling me randomly, hey, like we can, if you have any crypto, we can sort of buy it from you or whatever too. There's a lot of people who want to buy and sell, and there's not really a typical size. What you will find though is people will try to squeeze you a bit to get better than the spot market rate. So you're probably better off just finding people who want to like do the opposite trade that you want to do, right? So I always find people who ask me, hey, like, do you want to sell me some USDC or whatever? And if I want to, I can. Otherwise, no. Right? You like ETH mainnet? Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I personally don't like Ethereum mainnet. I don't like the high gas fees. I don't like the fact, like, for example, I claimed the ERA airdrop cost me $50. I wish they dropped it anywhere else but that. But I had to do it because the ERA airdrop was $2 a token. I didn't want the price to go down. So I was just like, get it, sell it, boom. And now the token went to like $1 or something. So which indicators do you use to see the alt market is too heated? Once again, I just use Fear and Greed Index, right? Once we get overheated on Bitcoin and stuff, the market's topping, boom, same thing. Also, like, you can take a look at the BTC dominance. What have I been up to? I did a video for Crystal Veil like 4 years ago. But yeah, no, 4 years ago? Yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, like I told people DeFi Kingdoms was dead 2 years ago, got completely out of it, sold everything, told people to get out. People call me an idiot, and now the token's worth like 4 cents. So, or not, probably not even 4 cents, probably 2 cents, but sucks to be them. Hope you're doing well though. What's the criteria to become a UAE citizen? You can't actually become a citizen, you can become a resident. And to be a resident, you just need to like either have like a working visa, like an employment visa, or you can get a golden visa through investment of 2 million dirhams, which is like 550K US. So yeah, you can buy a property, you put it in the bank, whatever it may be, you're good to go. Maybe it's nostalgia. Yeah, it could be. Like for example, what I like about Infinex is when I move stuff around, they comp the gas fees for me because I have a patron NFT, so I love it. Also, this is also why I like holding some of my Ethereum memes on like exchanges. I know people don't like it, but hey, once again, I don't have to pay the gas fees when I swap or whatever. You know what I'm saying? All my ETH and ETH base. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I would focus on, right? Forget ETH mainnet. Don't talk about gas fees or whatever, because that's really not it. Like, there's no ETH mainnet. When we're talking about Ethereum, we're not talking about ETH mainnet. We're talking about base, right? So it's not bad. All right, guys, we've been here for an hour. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, no more live streams, but I'll be making videos from here to there, and you should be good. And Claudio, yeah, if you trade futures, you should be eligible for the airdrop. Watch my guide, because that's not enough. You want to stake hype, you want to hold spot, right? So you hold spot there, and you want to trade futures, okay? All right, guys, see you guys later. Hope you guys have a great week. Remember, we are just starting to rally. Do not get scared. Do not think this is the end and we're going to go down or whatever, right? You guys have been waiting for this. We deserve this, right? We have waited so long. And please don't sort of shortcut everything by just being lazy and saying, oh, I'm just going to take it. And if you want to do, that's cool. But please consider an exit strategy and how you're going to scale out. Because I personally think, I don't know if it'll come true, but I think sometime in, August, September, we're going to start seeing some blood just to scare people out before we sort of have that final rally in Q4. But like I said, who knows? We're going to see how the market plays out because obviously everything I'm saying depends on what the market does. Are we going to top early? Are we going to keep going? We'll find out. See you guys soon. Thanks again for watching. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. See you later.